This is my review of mine and Bruce's final director's performance of FOMO.
984 posts, 328 followers, 195 following. Friends and Scott 123, Brad Simpson, Alan Sharpney, and now dies.
I won't play the full scene, but I think the first scene actually went really well. You'll notice I was supposed to be stood there next to Rosa. However, I just before we started, the side lights, the side blue and the side red lights, which I do think have a really nice effect, which is what I was hoping, weren't on. So I had to, just before the lights came up, I had to turn them both on. But then, just as I was about to stand in the line, Bruce turned the lights up, but not realising, and so I had to wait on the side. So
1,147 posts, 560 followers, 3,000.
also we had the noise of the projector. Originally we didn't know we were going to have a projector screen, but on the day we just kind of got told we had to have it. So we luckily managed to find a last minute image, but we never intended to have that projector screen in our performance.
Step your F number 1. Step time. Right now I really fancy a ham sandwich.
Let me skip to there. Yeah, so I think so this is where I come on. As you can tell, I've just come off from the side.
12 posts, 27 followers, 7 followers.
You can't see in this, but me and Rose are at the front there. I really like the poses and the use of the set, because at every different height, so each character we've seen. I mean, Miss Starbuck, who filmed it, was stood right at the back, so in behind the back row, and so she just couldn't catch us on camera. But all the other rows could see us, because I made sure they could. But yeah, good laughter there as well, which is what we wanted. This is the online chorus scene. Overall, I think the online chorus scenes worked particularly well. I think there was some bits where I wish there was faster transitions between lines.
Hashtag first names on that. Hashtag meetup. Hashtag Starbucks caramel frap. Hashtag
You look hot!
And like there, I think there's Leon does it quite a few times. Like his voice trails off at the end of it, and again, I think the power. I mean, I won't go on much more about the PowerPoint. It'll be the last point I say on it, but I think it's just a distraction at the back. It doesn't look right to be in the scene, but again, we had no control over that.
Okay. 3 lights.
I think that worked really well. Everyone did it. Everyone looked up, which I think looked really nice as well. And the audience laughed, which is another good sign.
When'd you get your shorts, darling?
I bet it's new look.
What?
7 lights. Building hot stuff muffins at Villa Rosa Portugal. Carving Villa and 2 others. Hot!
So again, like here, this came from, I think, yeah, D just forgot a line. So like, that was one of my worries about the online chorus. We wanted it to be really snappy between lines, and again, I mean, it's probably just nerves on the night, but I think it does look a bit naff if it's not snap transitions between lines, because again, we want it to kind of represent the hectic kind of feeling of being on the online world, like a notifications just keep popping up like on your feed, like on a Facebook feed.
OMG Saga!
Oh, you're so pretty! Pushing off on the top. When'd you get your bikini?
I bet it's Top Shop. Give a validation to others in the mouth. And give a validation to others in the mouth. And give a validation to others in the mouth. And give a validation to
I think this movement worked well as well. I mean, we got the laughter, which is the main important thing. That's why we added it in. So overall, went well. again, the laughter is what we wanted. So yeah, I'll skip ahead. Overall, I think scene 2 went really well. We're going to scene 3. I do have to admit, watching it back, I think potentially the pretending to, like with the finger guns, I think potentially it does look a bit naff. I think maybe actually having the prop gun in it, but again, the prop gun was broken, so but yeah, originally we did want the prop gun, but like I said, it was broken, but the scene would have looked a lot better with a prop gun. Again, the mumble on lines there. Again, we wanted that to be like bang, so you're gonna see again, bang, so just kind of like you're dead again. So yeah, I think overall, kind of performance-wise, it happens quite a few. Just that some of the times we wanted snappy kind of movements, which kind of what kind of interrupts a line. Just because I think it added more effect and make it a bit more funnier.
I did not see that one coming. Sort it out. The costume's deal here. Now. I did not see that one coming.
Again, the lights come down a bit too late then. This is scene 4. I mean, that comes from practicing more. I think she's only in year 9, so kind of line stumbles is forgivable because again, she's under a lot of pressure and she's stressed. But yeah, you're never normally supposed to kind of break out of character. But what can you do? This is added again. I think this scene, apart from the little blunder, I think all the kind of online chorus scenes work. Like this scene, like the little movements of humour, what we wanted to add, just kind of really kind of come across. Like so far, everything we added in to be humorous, we've had a laugh from. So in terms of humour, I think we've done really well.
Actually do it. Swear down, Joe Barker, Phil Timbertash. Do it all the way down! Fly! She didn't know it was filmed. That was weird.
Again, in this scene, we wanted it to be really kind of fast. We kind of got very inspired by kind of like Berkoff kind of styles, like and kind of Golfer mainly with teachers and bouncers. We kind of in the line, kind of quickly coming in and out with them supposedly. Well, I think some people are, some people aren't. I think even I forgot to do it sometimes, like pretending to type and then as if you're sending a message, and then when you're there answering the message, so like a Snapchat. So when you step forward, it's your message you sent. Again, I think it was Rohan stumbled on a line again. I mean, he is year 9 as well, so. It's probably the first time he's ever done a proper performance like this, so it can be forgiven. But again, it's something out of mine and Bruce's control.
Are you doing it, bruv? We need to know. Why? So you fuck yourself up? Yeah, absolutely. Faggot. Oh, well. Queer. Body like that.
movement too early there. I think the transitions overall work sometimes. I think some people forgot about them. We wanted it to be moving in right angle kind of movement. I think in scene 7 we had some problems with trying to get the volume from Rohan's voice and just trying to get that kind of expression across, and his actors, like, for example, like he kind of goes, "What's that behind you?" It's supposed to be like, "What's that behind you?" Like, actually more confused.
I was like, no. And he's part of the family. And you were sort of, okay, stays in your room. It's not how let's in his space for anything else.
Dick.
Excuse me?
Sorry. Just making stuff out.
I know.
Crazy sci-fi.
Yeah.
Again, kind of volume again. I think that works. We added that just to kind of add a bit more charm to the scene, so it's like as if she's actually frozen, and I think it did work.
She's not around anymore. She's not. She's still alive. I haven't seen her in a couple of years. It's kind of complicated. It's okay. My dad's a bit poor. So, it's all the time.
Originally we wanted to add pings for every time we checked his phone, but every time we tried it, we just didn't think it fitted, and I think overall the scene doesn't feel as full without it. Like, it feels like there's an aspect missing because he does just keep checking his phone with kind of what seems to be no prompting, with the kind of the actual physical ping being able to more of a prompt. But in the end, when we Bruce decided against it, and in practice it was hard to time the pings and stuff like that. But I think they still would have been a very good thing in the scene, and I think it is what the scene is missing.
What's that? Oh,
Like that, what's that on the ball behind you? We wanted Rohan to have like a huge reaction, literally like, that's my brother's. But then again, he just kind of rushes it. Again, I think it is just nerves, and I think when you're nervous, and especially when you're inexperienced in performing, you do maybe forget some of the directions. But again, I think I just think I mean, I don't really want to criticise Rohan because, like I said, he is year 9. But I think, yeah, I think he just was nervous. Again, volume.
nice try. How about we tomorrow after school in the library?
Like that aren't you going to Sasha's party? That's supposed to be quite a big thing because that comes up later in scene 11 where they after Sasha's party and Steph has found the condom. Originally Steph isn't supposed to be in scene, it's supposed to be Sonali, but we couldn't get enough cast and we didn't really want to multi-role because we didn't want to confuse the audience, and we didn't want to try and like quickly change between like quickly have a clothes change or a costume change. So we decided me and Bruce sat down and worked out the script that a way to do it without Sonali and without Danny. We still kept Danny within the context of the play, but you just never see her talk. She's just spoke about. And in terms of Sonali's completely written out, and Steph says her lines there. So that's why, and I think it does come across. I mean, the second group who did the second half of the play did have enough cast for did have enough cast members. But again, I don't think any of the audience were confused because they didn't know the play anyway, and I think it does fit. I think in terms of transitions, we are missing some sort of music. Watching it back, I remember at the time me and Bruce thinking we didn't want music, but then I think watching it back, I definitely think the transitions, because they're a bit awkward, and I think it would have feeling a bit fuller with the music, especially because we got inspiration from it, the Anatomy of a Suicide transitions, and that had music. So if I was to go back, I would definitely put music in the transitions.
Hey, 2001. Hashtag Sasha16. Hashtag getting ready. Friday night start while Haley's maxing it for sex. Hashtag Sasha16. Hashtag party on. Hashtag best night ever.
7 packs.
You all look so beautiful.
Let's do best item. Why something we trust, let's do.
OMG. Do I look that angry? You just listen. You honestly don't, Fran. Hashtag violence. Hashtag take it down. Hashtag never.
I think again that was another example of the kind of like the speediness between lines working well, because if there was a huge gap there, it wouldn't have been funny, whereas there's suddenly just a hashtag what a bitch, it kind of caught the audience off guard, and that's what made it funny.
Hashtag Sasha16. Hashtag party on. Hashtag best night ever.
Hashtag just a drink. Snap a glass of pie.
I think they moved a bit too late, and I think that's why they rushed, because then it just allowing bands and it looks out of place. Originally it's supposed to kind of like just before that line take a step down and step into Rohan falling on Hal, but then I think they just moved a bit too late.
Mate, you look hammered. Lads, where's it like?
You okay? It's a lot further to do. If not done or anything. Like you face.
Rohan is folded over there.
Library tomorrow?
We wanted him to make more of a thing like that. We wanted it to be more like exaggerated, so it's like with Danny in his arms, he moves in for a kiss. Like we really wanted him to be like kind of passionate and intense about it, but like in a jokey kind of over exaggerated kind of way. Again, I think it's kind of lost there. I think in terms of like Rohan does a lot like moving your hands with what we wanted is like everyone else is doing. They just come up and say it, and again, Rohan kind of if I take it back a couple of like 10 seconds, you just see him like for example here. He does that moving. So in the touching of the net, we just want him to just pop up, say his line and fall back over. Again, I think volume was a real thing in this line, in this scene.
Lockhart, you guys.
I think the moving right angles was lost in some transitions. And this scene is scene 11, is the girls' FaceTime scene. We originally wanted Rosa to actually eat the yogurt, but then I think they forgot to take the lid off, so she pretended to eat the yogurt over the top of the lid. Again, it was D says vom there, but it wasn't too loud.
Guess what I found on Talking Sash and Club this morning? Only wow.
That wasn't kind of. We were hoping for kind of a bit more of a bigger reaction there. I think if it was better if she actually proper leaned forward as if, and like, oh, look what I found. Maybe said it with a bit more excitement. But again, we didn't direct it. She did what we directed her. So I think maybe we should have told her to make more of that, like properly, like wave it around, because then I think it would have been maybe a bit more funnier.
It was in the living room, by the sofa, where a certain loving couple were making out last night. Instagramming. Stephanie! Are you playing tennis today? Daddy's waiting! No, this is a private call.
I think that worked. I mean, we maybe not as funny as, or maybe not the kind of as. Maybe wasn't the reaction we were kind of hoping for maybe a few more laughs than that. But but we wanted to do it, and they did get a few laughs. But maybe it was just a bit too over the top. The mummy shouting bit, that is, by the way.
She was joking. Incoming call from Hayley.
I think that was, but I think it might have been a bit slower. So up, incoming call from Hayley. Back down, kind of monotone.
It was onto the sofa. Big deal. What just so on? Yes. No, I wasn't. Oh my god, you're so immature. You're like some little 12-year-old or something. It was Danny and Joe. Full of it, yes. Haley tries to with Danny. No answer.
Again, that was, we kind of, in that kind of situation, we wanted to be kind of very quick. Kind of, Haley tries to call Danny, no answer. But again, but maybe I'm just being a bit too picky.
Fred, are you okay? What are you doing? I think Fred's like passed out.
We wanted, I think maybe we should have made more of a big deal of it. Maybe actually had it actually hanging over the rise. It might be a bit funnier then. Like actually hanging over the top in this gap here might be funny, because supposedly she's supposed to be hung over, and so I think if she's actually like, oh yeah, I think she was hanging over, it would have been funnier.
No, she's breathing.
Again, I think volume is a problem in this.
Jenny, look at my phone! Oh my god, Jenny. What's she saying? He's next, just join the hand. Incoming from Danny. Maybe so I got.
I think that got the reaction we wanted.
Hi, Danny. Cool. Going back to it from your own sweat or something. Zachary being sweat, Zachary's being sweat. I think you like it tomorrow? Cool.
I think Rosa moved a bit too early there. It's supposed to be lights. Wait to. There was one thing we told him, wait till lights down. But again, all our cast apart from Leon and Dan we attend, and it was the first time they've ever really done a big performance like this.
Rosa knew Chelsea was her own incident.
See, like, again, in kind of contrast and tone, I tried to be as clear and loud, but you can tell Rohan wasn't. But again, I think it is just nerves. The lights didn't come down here. Bruce clicked the wrong button. He thought he clicked the lights down, but like what turns all the lights off. But he didn't. He accidentally clicked the wrong button, and so the lights didn't come down. So we just moved into a transition in kind of light.
Box. Cover me lights, I'm going in. Just got this back. You should tell her to wear tight tops more often. Hey, what's that? If you start asking me stupid questions, I can hear just you going on.
I think we wanted, like, each riser represents a different location, and we were trying to think of maybe ways to represent that. But I don't think it really kind of comes across. I think it does just come across. Maybe they're all just in the same room playing online together, talking to each other. If you notice, they never actually look at each other. They always look out, and we were hoping that might be enough, but I don't think it's clear enough. In other scenes, like the FaceTime scenes, are further distance, and they're always facing out, and they never look at you, and it's a bit easier to get. For example, in scene 7, the Skype calling, call connected, it kind of signaled they're in different locations, where in this, it does kind of feel like they're all in the same location.
Check your load out. Went to the cinema. Matt! Watched the film. Come on, guys, we've got this. Concentrate! How far did you get? Top or bottom? Sure, do my head in. What's your problem? We just concentrate on the game.
So there, like, I got up and did the right angle, and I think so did Dan and Leon, actually, I think, as well.
I had fun. Smiley face. Me too. Want to do something next week, Ben? My friend knows it's a picnic. Smiley face. Chicken drumstick. Donut.
Friend?
Easiest picnic. Guess it's not.
We wanted to make them more of that thing, which I guess it's not that rock and roll. We kind of wanted to feel like an arm swinging as well.
Wait.
All the time? That's good.
And that's the end. Overall, I do think the performance went well. I think in transitions, we should have had some music because I think it was awkward. But I think the online chorus scenes, when they were kind of fast and fluid lines, that one after another, it worked really well. And a lot of the times we got the kind of laughter we after. We got the laughter and response we wanted from the audience, because I think we did do a very good job of making it a funny play. So overall, I think our performance was well. I think obviously there was a few stumbles in lines, and questions of volume sometimes. And I wish potentially, and obviously the screen in the back, maybe if we were told about it beforehand, we could do more with it. But I don't think anything else really was. I don't think there was anything majorly bad with it. Obviously, the transitions I think needed music, and obviously the pinging sounds and C7s I think would have added to it. But then other than that, I'm really happy with the final performance.